Hi everyone, my name is Ed Scollin. I am the former director of the National Youth Sports Program, NYSP, at UMass Lowell, and now an advisory board member of the new Lowell Youth Leadership Program, LYLP. So lots of acronyms to remember tonight. Welcome and thanks for coming. We were hoping for a good turnout when we started planning this for our reunion and launch. And looking around, I think we certainly have a nice crowd. Before we begin, a few introductions and thank you. I'd like to welcome and thank Representative Tom Golden. Put your hand up, Tom. Thank you so much for coming out. I hope I don't miss anyone. City Councilor-elect Corey Robinson. Corey, thank you. Appreciate your support. Also, we have, and you'll hear about him in a second, Mr. Dana Skinner, former athletic director at UMass Lowell. He was here and left for another engagement, but Kevin Coughlin, who's president of the Lowell Sun Charities. So Kevin, thank you for coming. And the entire crew has a school committee meeting tonight at the Greater Lowell, but Superintendent Jill Davis and her staff, you'll hear about her in a second, would like to acknowledge all the support that you've given us so far. And lastly, certainly for the old court, for their hospitality, not only tonight, but for all the meetings we had to pull this together. So NYSP, just as an overview, was a vital part of the Lowell community from 1991 to 2007. Dana Skinner, again Dana, who is here tonight, and Dr. John Helsted had the vision to bring NYSP to the campus of UMass Lowell, knowing what a positive impact it would have on the university, the community, and most importantly, the participants. They certainly were right. Dana, thank you so much. NYSP was a summer program that served at-risk youth between the ages of 10 and 16. Along with sports instruction, it provided educational and enrichment activities, health and wellness information, and so much more. All participants received medical screening, transportation, 2 healthy meals a day. The program ran for 6 weeks, approximately 300 participants, and it was free of charge to every one of them. NYSP was recognized nationally many times, culminating in being named the best NYSP program in the country.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the program lost federal funding, leaving a large group of Lowell youth without the ability to experience the advantages of NYSP. But now for the good news. Recently, I, along with Jim Conlon, Jim?
Hey, Jim!
Were contacted by several NYSP alumni who expressed a desire to create a program that would provide Lowell youth similar opportunities that they had growing up with NYSP. It was obvious, and you'll see in a second, it was obvious that they had the enthusiasm and passion to succeed. It was great and is great for me to see such dedication. After many meetings, and with the help of Jim McCusker, Jim? Lisa and Sarah? And others, the idea of a youth leadership program evolved. We're excited to announce that the Lowell Youth Leadership Program will be held on the campus of Greater Lowell Technical High School in the summer of 2022. Superintendent Jill Davis and her team have been very supportive of our goals and mission statement, and thank you so much for allowing LYLP to be part of your campus. So here we are, full circle. Enough of me. I'd like to introduce the president of the Lowell Youth Leadership Program, Larry Wilson.
I like to walk around a lot when I'm on stage, so it's just kind of my thing. So, no, thank you again for everyone for coming. Obviously, we got a great turnout, like Ed just said, and I kind of just want to share my story of how I got involved with NYSP and how it had an impact on my life. And then I'll introduce you to my staff, and we'll go through kind of what LYLP is and what we're trying to give out to the youth. So, basically, growing up in Lowell, my story started just like anyone else's story kind of would start. But mine's is a little deeper, a little darker, but it has some light at the end of the tunnel. And that starts off with my mom working 2 or 3 jobs. We lived in Section 8 housing, because we were just trying to struggle to pay bills. With that being said, with the summer coming around, my mom's trying to figure out who's going to watch us, whether it's going to be my aunt or somebody from the family, or me and my cousin's just going to, run around and do things in the streets like we usually do. So my cousin Alfonso, who's supposed to be here tonight, but he had to work, he had a great idea. He said, hey, well, my buddy's talking about this summer program called NYSP, and you know what? They give 2 meals a day. I was like, we're in there. Of course, we're going. Yeah, like 2 meals a day, you can't beat that. And he's like, it's at the university. We never seen UMass Lowell. So, obviously we start off there. And long story, I wouldn't say long story short, I go there, I'm there my first day, and I'm in the office with Ed. I don't know how I got there, don't ask me. But I think the universe works in like the weirdest ways and the most unique ways. And I think that they put me there with Ed because the universe wanted me to see what a leader was. With my dad not being very involved in my life, Ed became not only my father figure, but like a leader in my life. So taking that tour with him that day taught me a lot of life skills, just in one day. A young individual, 11 years old, one day with Ed Scullin. The way his demeanor is, the way his attack is, the way he's very friendly, but also be cautious because he does have that other side of him. But also the way that he was able to keep the program together and keep everyone smiling and keep what the opportunity was before us. He was keeping the light at the end of the tunnel. So with that being said, I kind of want to introduce one of my friends, who's now my vice president.
Secretary.
Is that what we're calling you? I thought you were the vice president. I'll let him elaborate more on our story on what happened in the camp and how we became best friends. But without further ado, my best friend, my best everything, Sam.
Thank you. Sorry, I really don't want to talk. But first off, thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate the support. So, like Larry said, he is my best friend. We first met at NYSP, which has been transformational for me. I was started as a camper. I was able to progress and become a junior counselor, and then a counselor, and then eventually a math and science instructor, which they just told me you had to do. But I've learned so much and was able to experience so much because of this program. Like Larry, I was pretty much growing up into projects, Shaughnessy Terrace projects. And it's like every single day is just, same old, throwing rocks, breaking windows. Like, oh, it's so fun, but I look at it now at my school. I'm a teacher now at Lowell High School. This is crazy. But I am so thankful just to be able to experience like what some people might take for granted, or just be like, oh, it's your average thing, playing tennis, playing golf. Oh my God, golf. Right? I love that game now. But just little things like that, being part of that was my first sports camp, any camp whatsoever. And to be able to enjoy that and meet great people like Larry, let me tell you the story of how we met my best friend. I was flipping since I was a little young kid, used to watch a lot of Chinese movies, knew the flips. But swimming, my first swim lessons was at NYSP, and I loved the diving board, never been on a diving board before. I was 12 years old, a little bit older than Larry, just a little bit. Oh no, it was 11. Sorry. Jeez. But yeah. So I'm flipping off the diving board, and everybody's like, "Wow, that's so good!" I'm doing like front tuck. Awesome! Wow, Sam, you're crazy. You're good. Do it off the high dive. I'm like, yeah, I can do it. So I go off the high dive. I'm going up the high dive. Ooh. I'm up there. I'm like, oh, it's pretty high. You can't let them down now. So I go. And I jump off the high dive and I tuck as hard as I can. I'm like, oh, doubles, triples. Boom, right on my face. Oh my God, my face was so numb and all you do. But I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, yeah. Larry was the only one that came up to me. I didn't know Larry. I know him, but I didn't really know him. But he's like, dude, your nose is bleeding. We gotta go to the nurse. And that's where we met Helen. Where's Helen? Shout out to Helen. And we've been inseparable since. So, unfortunately, we've been inseparable. No, just kidding, laugh. But if it wasn't for NYSP, NYSP, I wouldn't have met Larry and had a great lifelong friendships, which I think a lot of other former NYSP people can say, because a lot of you guys came with friends that you guys met at NYSP. AJ, I know you. Is that AJ back there? I see you, right? AJ with TC and everybody else. It's been so good to us to be able to meet other youth in our situations and build a lifelong friendship together. And I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to say that we need this program more than ever. Kids are so plugged in nowadays that we need an outlet for them to be able to express themselves in a positive way and to be able to have goals for them to be able to repeat this process for the future. And I'm going to turn it to Andy Lopez. Oh, no, Kai, you're here.
She's here.
I'm going to turn it over to Kai and D.
Alright, this is gonna be, it's a hard act to follow, but I'm gonna do my best. So number one, I grew up in Lowell, grew up in the Highlands. My parents they're from Cameroon. We literally, the only people I knew were my siblings and my cousins. That's it. So needless to say, I was very much I always kept to myself, right? And my parents were like, you have to do this sports program. I'm like, okay, oh gosh, okay, first of all, program, meaning that there are gonna be other people there, and then also sports. Maybe not. Anyone that knows me knows that I have no dexterity whatsoever. So it's like, so this just sounds like an embarrassment program, right? And so we end up, so my sister and I go, and literally it was like the most transformative experience I've ever had. I met people that I know I never would have otherwise met. I went to St. Jean d'Arc, which down the street, if you guys know that school, you understand why I never would have met other people. Like, it was like, everyone, so like between that and already just my natural nature, there was no way I was gonna meet other people. I met people from different backgrounds, different neighborhoods, different everything. And then the sports part, I'm happy to say that I've learned that, I could go for a layup, completely miss it, but still I was ready to go back and take another shot. And those are things that it's taught me through life. And there's been a lot of, I've had failures in life. I've also had a lot of successes. And I can say that the successes, NYSP has been a major, major part of it. And I'm so thankful because if you guys met me, let's just put it this way, if you guys met me 30 years ago, you'd be like, this is not the same person. I guarantee you my parents are saying the same thing right now as we speak. So they literally, and then I wouldn't have met Sam, I wouldn't have met Larry, wouldn't have met Chuck, wouldn't have met all these amazing people. So it's worth every investment that anyone can make, because that investment provides an investment in oneself.
Wow, I don't know how to match that. You know what I mean? Like, the vibe was wild. I was in the moment and I'm like, man, I'm getting caught up in the emotion of it. So mine is not as funny, even though I'm actually pretty funny, just FYI, but I really am. But that was hard to follow. So when I first started, my name is Andy Lopez and I'm a teacher here at Lowell Public Schools. And it's nice that we, the growth, right? Larry grew up on the street, the same, near the neighborhood I grew up with. And so when I heard of NYSP, we met months ago, and the first thing that they asked us, hey, Ed's like, tell us about it. And I'm like, man, the word that kept coming out of my mind is access. And the reason I think of access is because if you think of some of the barriers of kids that are underserved, underprivileged, is access, right? They don't have the access to these things, right? Like I think about, I don't know golf, but I was out there golfing. I still don't know how to golf. And tennis, like I was down to meet the guy that did tennis. I was like, oh, where is he? And he's in there. So I think I saw him. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm a celebrity. But I was like, man, like tennis, right? And we're in the city, so we just football, baseball, And then the one thing that really stuck out in my mind, I swear to God, I said this, and it's gonna sound terrible, but they're like, what else you remember? I said, yo, the grilled cheese. The grilled cheese. And I'll tell you why rice and fried eggs. You know, like, yeah, mommy's like, hey, guess we're gonna eat rice and fried eggs with little hot dogs to be special, and that's what you ate. You know, that's my culture, right? We just, okay. And then all of a sudden you taste grilled cheese, and you're like, when you taste it, for you it means nothing, but someone that's never tasted anything, that's grilled cheese, man. So I eat, and I was like, to this day, I've never tasted any grilled cheese like you mess up. But the whole point of it is that we're here, and I kept thinking about, man, I gotta be a part of this in any shape or form, because I want it to be one day that, you know, everyone here, Sam, you know, Larry, we're the Eds and the Jims and the Helens, and we are then opening that sort of cycle for the new Andy's and Sam's and Larry's, right? And so like, there's the cycle, right? And they instill those values that we once had. Like I still to this day, I got emotional because I was like, man, like I could not believe that the grilled cheese made me so emotional. It was not the grilled cheese, it's that the access that I got to the grilled cheese, an opportunity to that, to golf, to all those other things. And to me, that's where I feel like this program needs to continue, and obviously better than what it was, because it's always room for growth. So whatever you can do to support LYLP and take a picture, hashtag, whatever you gotta do, throw the money in there, please. We want this to continue because we think it's gonna do a lot for the kids in our community. Thank you. Now wait, I gotta introduce this man made me so excited. Can I just tell a quick story? I'll be done. All right. So we're in the chat, and I was like, oh man, what's this thing going? Me and Larry like, yo, my man, like he's got to get this thing going. We were like, yo, Larry, like what's up? He comes in, he's like, I got something. I was like, you know what people say? I got something. I was like, you lying, you stalling. He came up with that logo. I was like, oh, I was like, he dropped the logo. So for me, when I was with this guy's an amazing person, like creativeness. I've never thought I would like, yo, this is Chenda. So come on, give it a clap off for Chenda.
I'm also the guy that brought my son to a bar. But you know, the funny story is that he was with me since the beginning too, a part of this planning process. So, and we're doing stuff for our kids. You know, this is what it's for. You know, and that's what makes me move forward. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about our logo, but before I do that, I just want to mention how I got involved with NYSP. And I was a very bad swimmer, unlike Sam Laird, who knew how to swim. I learned how to swim because I almost drowned at NYSP, and these guys were like, you gotta learn how to swim at Jim's house. I said, okay, and that's how I learned. So now I'm a good swimmer, and I'm gonna do the same for my son, and for my fiance, she doesn't know how to swim either. But I'm there to save their lives if they ever need it, you know, saving. So we're good. So about our logo, you definitely heard some words out there. We talked about connections, everlasting, limitless, all these things, right? And at the end of the day, when you look at our logo, it almost represents an infinity sign, right? When you look at an infinity sign, it's continuous. And that's what we're trying to do here at LYLP. We want people to not only get the service that we're gonna provide them, but we also want them to take that service and give it back, maybe to the community that they're from, or even come back and take over our positions one day, whether it's a counselor, a board member, a board advisory, a junior counselor, a staff member, whatever it is. And at the same time, it's also an opportunity for them to take what they're learning and apply it to their everyday lives. And that's what that symbol is about. So when you look at our symbol, that's what we want you to remember. It's building a legacy of leadership. And I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Welcome. Larry, back to the stage. Thank you. You gonna say what? You gonna say what? Uncle Larry? Okay.
I want you to. Wow, that's not looking too good for the future. So, obviously, we heard the testimonial of my friends, my staff, right? And everything that we're trying to do here with LYLP is impactful. We're thinking about kids in our community, and we're trying to get them off of their couches, off of their games, off of running around in the streets. Because I know as a kid, if you're not involved with a program and you're looking for purpose, you're gonna get involved in some wrong things. And we all been there. And life is all about choices. And sometimes that one choice you make can change your life. And like all the rest of us, we were very lucky to make the right choice to either go get a grilled cheese, to go get double lunches, right? To jump off a diving board and make a friend, or to join a program that we didn't even know was gonna change our lives. and I cried earlier, I don't want to cry yet. My main thing is, for me, I like to do things off the cuff and just kind of keep it natural. And in my city, I see a lot of things going on. And you have to do something about that. If we don't do something about that, my 4-year-old daughter is not going to have a nice path to walk in. And it's not always nice. There's going to be things, diversions and things in her way. But at the same time, as a parent, what we do is we parent. But when they're outside the house, they have to grow themselves. And that's what's everything. Every single person here has grown themselves. So with LYLP, I just kind of want to say a couple more things. Obviously, we're trying to raise funding for this program. There's different ways that we're going to have outreach for this. If you can, please donate, because what we're trying to do is really going to impact the community, and it's really going to give back and give people jobs. It's going to help inner city moms be able to go to work and have free daycare. You know, and I'm just being real. My mom is free daycare, so that's kind of what it was, but it helps out everybody. And at the end of the day, you're doing something not only good for yourself, but for your community. I thought you were going to stay. I knew you were going to stay. That's what I was going. So, other than that, I have a couple of things. We have some gifts for you guys. So clap, the gifts. Hello, they're free. So we have the LYLP logo.
Is it grilled cheese?
Well, the grilled cheese is coming next week. And on the back, we have 2 QR codes. The top QR code will bring you to our website, which is lylp.org. Or if you take a picture in front of our little thing over here. I said little, it's 8x8, but. And then the bottom one will also bring you to our Facebook site where you can join the family. Because that's where we all are at the end of the day. And we have to, they always say it takes a village to, raise a child. So this is the village, and this is where it starts. And the reason why every single person is here is because you were personally invited. The energy has been given to you. You have to share the message, because if you're quiet, nobody hears about it. And then when there's kids breaking your windows, we try to help, right? And so the last thing that I kind of want to leave everyone with today is a quote that I heard either on a movie or something. I forget where I heard it. I might even mess it up, but I'm going to try to make something impactful here. I don't know. So it says, great leaders are not chosen. They're called. So today, in front of all the rest of you, and in front of my peers, my family, and everyone else, my peers have elected me to be their leader, and I'm answering the calling. Thank you for coming.